Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. So glad you've joined us to stay curious today with a special guest from the European Space Agency, Alex Karl.
Mark, good to be back.
Welcome, Alex. Alex has been on Stay Curious 5 or 6 times, even came remotely from South Africa one time when you were at the Planetary Defense Conference, right?
That was from Luxembourg, actually.
Luxembourg,
Uh,
actually, there. He's European is all over the place, but Alex, appreciate our friendship. I met him he just popped in the museum about 4 or 5 years ago, right?
yeah, it was four years ago, I think, for the Crew 3 mission I was here, and I stumbled in here.
Yeah, and saw him there at the console, took a picture, we connected, and he's probably my best friend that's European over there. So we do kind of stay in contact once in a while. Is this beautiful world we live in? Once in a while I'll pop you a Facebook
Yeah.
message or something, see how you're doing. And this is the friendships that we've all made here at the American Space Museum. Is I'm pulling you all up, and everything's cool there, Marty, on our side. And Marty Winkle, my co-producer for over 5 years, and we are now well into our 1,300 episodes. Like
Wow.
you're like 1,306, I think. So, uh, and it's all because of everybody watching today enjoys it. Alex, since you've been on like 4 years ago, we really created a community of people that enjoy the fellowship. I think more and more each, but also they also can talk to space workers
hmm
mostly. And today you can ask your questions to Alex about Axiom 4. Tell people what your role with ESA is on Axiom 4, Karl.
Alex.
I mean, yeah. Well,
That's a running joke since 4 years.
oh, is it? Yeah, it is. It
Maybe.
is. It is.
Yeah, so I'm here as ESA crew support, which means that uh, the astronauts that are assigned to a mission, they get two people from the ESA group support team assigned. We're a small team, about 8 people, and we rotate. So that's why I'm not here for every launch, but just every other. And we basically take care of the astronauts before, during, and after the mission. So we want to make sure they're taken care of, their families are taken care of, their friends are being taken care of. Um, there are a lot of things happening, but the main thing really that brings me and my colleagues here for this Axiom 4 launch is that each ESA astronaut is allowed to invite a certain number of guests along with the family to watch the launch. So we had a bunch of Polish people traveling all the way from Europe to Florida, who were all excited and eagerly waiting to see the launch happen. And as you know, we still need to be a little bit more patient.
Yeah.
And we're having a guest program for them, so we enable them together with Axiom. We have some opportunities for them to talk to Swawosh. That's a Polish astronaut. While he's in quarantine, there was one open air event, of course, with distancing to maintain the quarantine, and that was together with the other astronauts on that flight from Hungary and from India, together with their entourage, and that was a really nice event. And then we had a couple of Teams calls from quarantine, talking to the friends and family, and answering some questions like what's the food like, and what are you doing,
Mm-hmm.
and how are things going. And so we help organize that and be the point of contact for the guests so that the astronaut can focus on the preparation of the mission.
Uh, as you're talking there, I'm thinking, what an international mission of 5 different languages going on at once there. Polish, Indian, uh,
Hungarian.
Hungarian, American, of course. You're German, and if I'm leaving anybody out, I mean, we don't miss the fact here in 2025 that space has become international, and the cooperations really make it happen.
hmm
Would they happen without the cooperations, you think, or what?
No way. No way. Space is a team sports. So we got to work together, and it's also more fun that way, I think. So we've seen at this joint event that the crew really had fun together on that stage. They bonded, and they were also mentioning like, hey, we're coming from different cultures, we have different values, but we bonded as a team. We're looking forward to this. And I think that was a great demonstration of the international collaboration and cooperation, and I'm sure also friendships coming out of that. So I think that's very, very important to get us to space.
Yeah, Alex, when I say the languages, I really mean the cultures. That's
Yeah.
the cultures are so different. And I'm actually going to, you gave me something. Marty, would you go over there and get that bag for me? Can you get the bag on top of there for me, please, sir? You'll find it's all worth it. Marty's all dressed up today. I had to ask him if somebody passed away that he knows, because we're usually casual Florida here, but
That's all.
Marty's gonna tell you what he's been up to today. Thank you, sir. Yes, so you brought up when you brought up the food, I thought pierogies.
Oh, right.
And I
Yes.
thought that's a good thing for us to
Yeah,
share
let me
here just a
explain
minute.
that maybe.
Yeah,
So,
let's go
all
up
right.
here. Yeah, let's do that when we show his picture
Okay.
up there.
Okay. Let's
Yeah,
keep that
let's
on
do
the
that
side.
up there. We love your questions. Alex Karl of ESA's here. He will talk. He'll be as frank as and open as he can with knowledge of what's going to happen with Axiom 4. When when will it launch? And purposely, I've not even asked him about it, so I don't know, because there was a wonderful interviewer, American Dick Cavett, and he was on interviewed movie stars and things like that, and he would say, don't ask your guests any. He says, Dick Cavett used to say, my guests say the most wonderful things on my show after the red light goes off, after we go off air. And if we started talking, I've learned that we might not go back to that,
Okay.
because you and I had that on there. So yes, Marty, go ahead.
We have a question from Michael Bruno. How long can Axiom stay on the pad due to the launch delay before having to be withdrawn and refurbished?
That's a good question. I believe because we have a launch opportunity every day until June 30th, that
Okay.
I'm assuming then that's more a SpaceX question. But I know we could launch if we had like weather delay or something. So window is open until the 30th of June every day. So I think that's then also the
Good.
maximum for the rocket itself.
And we're going to take all your questions, but I want to get through a little preview here because we had a lot of fun with Alex while he's been here on the coast. And but yes, keep them coming there. Marty will get to them there. We'll talk about the issues and so forth here. But there's our little tease for you there. And boy, this had to be a moment when you went and got Crew 4, which was Cristoforetti. Was that
Yes,
Samantha?
yes, it
Tell
was.
us about that. You'd all envious there as the mushroom there's bobbing in the was that in the Gulf or the Atlantic?
That was
Alex?
in the Atlantic. That was off the coast of Jacksonville. So again, talking crew support here. Because we have many people at the launch, it's more common to go to a launch for us. I mean, it's still an amazing experience, and something. No matter how often you've done it, it's always a special work trip.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Paid little work trip.
on
That's
on
nice.
the other end of the journey, there's also 3 people from ESA, or depending on the circumstance, but up to, let's say, up to 3 people from ESA joining the landing. Of course, the flight surgeon is there, is the most important one. Then we have a crew representative and a photographer. And in case of Crew 4, I was the crew representative for ESA. So I got the chance to join the landing, and they flew me out on a helicopter to the SpaceX recovery ship, which actually I saw here in the Port Canaveral yesterday being docked, and I was like, hey, I know that ship.
You used the latrine on that ship, probably.
Um,
Maybe.
I don't
But
remember that part.
the helicopter lands on top of it, not
Yes.
on the deck, right? It's like
Yes.
on top of the
No,
cabin.
they're like 3 levels, and the top one is a helicopter landing
Hmm.
port, and then of course to the backside they have this mechanism to lift the capsule out and put it in the nest.
Well, how cool is that? Tom Celentano, who just chimed in. There's Tom with Marty. You don't get to see Marty too much. He's always on the other side of the camera. And Tom says, back from my Space Coast trip this week, I was disappointed the Axiom 4 launch was delayed, but these things happen. And he's seen lots of launches, lots of shuttle launches, and a great guy. Enjoyed breaking bread with you, Tom. And he hung out at the museum, and we had he's a good supporter and has been watching Stay Curious from Connecticut. He's up in the New England area of our great country here.
All right.
And there you see some of the cool things we have on the wall here. Steve Jokums, I know, is watching or will be watching in Illinois, and he gave Marty this poster up there that's got all the lunar modules that were. Are those all of them that were flown, Marty? Okay. 12 of them.
There's
And
12 on there.
and then Marty, you brought that beautiful poster in behind you there, and that's way of us loving Marty for being a lunar module electrical engineer back in the 1960s in that wonderful last century there. But Tom Celentano, we enjoyed your company and can't wait for you to come back again. And just enjoyed. He was a library technician up there for many years in the Connecticut state up there. So got that out of the way. We got you up there. Had some of your friends in here. We can't thank Alex enough. He's told all of your ESA friends and put it on your little newsletter to.
Now we have a chat group on Signal to communicate with our guests and say like, hey, the buses tomorrow for the Kennedy Space Center tour, for example, leave at this time, and have updates, answer questions, so everybody's a little bit aware. And I pointed out that the American Space Museum would be a great place to visit while they're in the neighborhood. And as timing would have it, some of my ESA colleagues were already here and texted right back and said, I can 100% confirm what Alex just said. We're here and it's amazing. Please come and visit.
Thank you so much. There's Sergio. That's Luca.
That's
That's
Luca.
Luca.
And then on the
far right.
So the lady with the dog shirt, she's also a crew support person. So we are working together on this mission. That's Alessandra. And
Alexandra,
yeah, so we're working closely on the crew support side.
And a mission manager's the lady in the middle.
Yeah, she is the she's not the mission manager, but she works with the mission manager.
I was telling them about knowing you and showing some previous Stay Curiouses of you on there, and I just happened to slide through a point, and she was getting off the airplane with her mask on. She goes, that's me with the crew.
Right, yes.
I think
she
it
is
was
on
Morganson, maybe, or.
She was with, no, maybe.
But immaterial,
Yeah,
there they are at our. That's a real Apollo used console in the Apollo days there. Not so sure the CRTs, Marty, would they have been there?
Yeah.
Okay. And some of our Apollo stuff and a Skylab. That Skylab 1 or 2, depending if you're an engineer or the media, was hung in the crew quarters, and Paul Weitz gave us that in the back there. And that's a real chair that was in the firing room that she sat in there. So, we enjoyed them. Go look at the last. These guys were on Monday, I guess. Man, the week has flown by, but what a show with Sergio Palomberri and Luca Aniscelio. And they've worked together. They worked a long time on the for ESA. When did you start your first? When were you hired in? What expedition was going on, Karl? Alex Karl.
So
I'll always do that,
Yeah.
but you can call me Marquette. Okay, I'm a Frenchman. You can call me Marquette.
So I started my ISS journey with Expedition 18. I did 10 years of payload operations from one of the European USOCs, the one in Belgium, in Brussels. Um, and there, yeah, I came in like 16 years ago now. And I did that for 10 years, and then I joined the team at the European Astronaut Center at ESA. And that was expedition 61 or 60, 60, 61.
And we're up to 73, about 2 a year. Okay, and so you're a seasoned veteran. Are you mentoring people to come in behind you? Or?
Yeah, we have the Eurocom team, for example. We always have 2, 3 people in the pipeline to because people are leaving, doing other things, phasing out, working on other projects. And then I'm actually the team coordinator for the Eurocom team. And I when I can, I do support and check in on the young folks and see how they're doing and try
Now, what
to.
are we looking at here, Alex?
So this is our ESA Astronaut Center
Artist rendition. Isn't
in
it?
Cologne. No, this looks like
Yeah,
an
those are the
actual
photos.
picture. That's an
Okay,
actual
gosh.
picture.
Beautiful.
This is my workplace. On the right-hand side, you can see all the flags. Those are the member states of ESA. And then the front part of the building, just behind the flags, that's where our pool is in, the neutral buoyancy facility, where ESA is teaching their astronauts how to the first steps for a spacewalk. And behind that, we have a big training hall with modules and classrooms and the training models of the different science racks that we have. And then the left part of the building is more like the office wings.
And we have had conversations with Karl before, and if just Google his name in your YouTube that you're watching on there, and he's taken us inside of that and given us some real great detail several times of your job there. We wanted to reserve his valuable time here with us to talk about Axiom 4, but first you had to have a little pleasure. And what you're looking at here, folks, is the Italian American Club in Ugali, part of Melbourne, very loyal to their Italian roots. And once the second Tuesday of the month, they have a jazz band, 16-piece jazz band, composed of some old fossil veterans like myself in age and a bunch of young kids, a couple high school kids and college kids. And in the upper left-hand corner, that's astronaut Winston Scott, taken on my cell phone, blowing his horn there. He after all got a scholarship to Florida State, won a music scholarship. He grew up in Miami and joined ROTC Navy and bingo, become an astronaut. But this is his therapy, and so glad that you could. There's Alex get some good video of him there.
Yeah, it's a bit grainy because my phone is not the newest, but it was a immensely enjoyable experience. So thank you for inviting me to that, Mark. We had a lot of fun, and yeah, I was snapping some pictures there.
Oh, I got
As
it there. That's out of sequence. So I'm going, wait a minute, that's a mega shot there. Yeah. Well, you're welcome. And this is what we do with all of our friends here at the museum that are out of town or out of the country. If we can give you a flavor of what's going on around here. I mean, your impression of the Italian American flavor of it there.
I didn't know what to expect, honestly, when you said, oh, there's an Italian American club. I wasn't quite sure what to picture under that.
Right.
And then it was a really, I could feel the community. I could feel the tradition a bit. And then it's a lot of heart as well.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of volunteers, a lot of handmade like sandwiches and what else do we have? The little box there.
And cheese
I mean, the food was great. The music was great.
I saw the Italian flag on. They got the map on the wall there,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I wonder what Alex thinks about that. Germany's over there, and do you go to Italy very often?
It depends. I mean, everything is closed in Europe, so at this point, I'm not planning trips, but it may happen. So
Yeah. Well, it's like our planning like going to our different states
Yeah.
here. So when I told Alex to show up and anyone he want and drop my name and blah blah blah
They
because
let
know
me
me
in.
well,
So-
and he doesn't show up with just one lady. He's got two ladies, one for each arm there. So who are these lovely new friends of ours that we made?
Yes. So of course, when I'm in town, I try to meet some friends of mine. So on my right on that picture, that
Yeah.
is Courtney. She's actually a local. She works in Merritt Island, and so I invited her over. And then on my left, that's Anu. She came all the way from Australia. She also happened to be around. So I said like, hey, and they're both in the space field. So I said, hey, are you interested in some jazz tonight? And both of them said yes. And they had a great time as well.
She's from the capital, Brisbane.
Canberra.
Oh, Canberra, yeah,
Canberra.
Canberra. And so already Cliff Watson's looking up her phone number probably. He's in Pomona, Australia there.
All right.
Yeah, and Cliff, he sat right here and did a couple Stay Curious. Yeah, you're in our new studios here. You've done remotes with us. You were in our other
Yeah.
room.
I
don't
was
ever
in the
think
very old one as
yeah,
well.
I thought you were in the back room. Yeah,
Yes,
you've been
I
in all
have been
three.
there, yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think of our new digs here with my office and here's the director and Marty's over there?
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. It's a nice space. It is a bit big, well, bigger than the old one. So it's less cramped. It feels more. It's
A little more homies there.
Yeah.
So and Marty and I are looking at each other instead of him having to get a crick in his neck looking at. But thank you, Winston Scott. Great supporter of our museum. He really is. He comes here a couple times a year and talks to about 30 Japanese students that are high schoolers that come here
nice.
with a group. I've gotten to know him and his wife Marilyn very well, and which is a privilege that I don't overlook in doing my job. Maybe we have that in common, that you're dealing with, famous astronauts from Europe from time to time, and how do you feel about that? And your family and so forth think, oh, he's a big shot because he can go to dinner with an astronaut, or
It's often a little bit the perception of the people that like, oh, you talk to astronauts or something, but at the end of the day, they're all human beings. They're people like you and I. And,
that's the point. That's my point. Yeah, Alex. And they need people like you and I.
Yeah.
We're facilitators to what they need to do. And I looked at them as business friends. I'll never know. I'll never be invited to probably Winston's house to have cocktails or something. But there may come a need where I need to go by and drop something off at his house.
Mhm.
And so it's very interesting. And I've been blessed in my life to be with a camera around my neck, working for the Associated Press in a VIP situation a lot. So. But you don't take advantage of them, and you learn kind of when you can. Like, I waited a long time for him to interject for us to get to meet him, because other people, I wanted you guys to meet him, and I just couldn't go up and say, Winston, these guys got to go. It was you have to be tactful and respectful
Mhm.
of any VIP's time in there. So, but what'd you think of his trumpet playing?
It was impressive. It was really good. I mean, everybody in that band really blew me away, literally.
Yeah. And they'll stop in the middle. They got a conductor guy, Joel, and he'll get him saying, no, wait a minute, let's start all over again.
Yeah, he is quite a character. He
Yeah.
was funny. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
And the singing, had some great
Oh,
singing.
wow. Yes. The singing also.
Lauren, lady that sang some jazz songs. And then there's a guy, Michael, who's a real pro,
Yeah.
sitting there drinking the honey water and stuff like that for his voice. Sounds just like Sinatra or Dean Martin or whoever you want him to sound like. So, well, we want to all get your questions together. We'll get to the Axiom 4 stuff here in just a minute there. Want to just personalize our visit here with Alex. And as always, make him feel like he's part of our American Space Museum family, because you are. And you brought these other people with us. And so we hope that your family and friends in Europe are enjoying this conversation with Alex Karl. But one other little personal thing, Marty was out. What'd you do today, Marty? You took this picture of the Falcon 9 and Axiom 4 on the pad.
Yeah, we had a tour out there. We had about 64 or 65 health and medical personnel from the various space centers. They come in once a year and they get a tour at the Kennedy Space Center. So we took them to we actually met in the Neil Armstrong O&C building. Then we went out to the LCC, toured that, and the VAB. Then we went to the Saturn V facility and went out to LC 39A and B. And that's pictures we took on at 39B. And that's the Axiom vehicle, if you will.
Good shot there. And then you part of the tour was seeing this. I go, what the heck's that, Marty? And he said,
That's the chopsticks.
that's the Starship chopsticks. The construction that they've done out there is amazing. Of course, Marty, you're out there a lot more. You've got a pass to go all over the grounds. What's your impression of how quickly this is going up, Marty? Or is it in your mind?
And sometimes it seems very quickly because I don't get out to the pads very often, and sometimes it is quickly. It depends on my mood, I think.
Well, it's going to happen. All right,
Yeah.
we're going to see a Starship launch from 9 miles away, and I'll be at Spaceview Park watching that. And you say, "Wow," because you had the fortunate opportunity to see Starbase. You told me.
Yeah, but without the Starship. So what? I was in Texas last year for the solar eclipse, and being in the neighborhood, I thought I'd drive down to Starbase and have a look myself, as it's right next to a public road. You get closer as the bus that Marty took the picture of.
You're that close.
You're
like-
closer than that. It's incredible. And I arrived, I think, at 11 at night. So of course I took pictures and everything is beautifully lit up and stuff. But what impressed me most was there were still people working at midnight. You could hear construction going on. There was cars coming and going. I think they're working 24/7. It was really impressive. I came back during the day to look at it, and it's just amazing how much there's happening and how quickly and how close you can get to the things. So that was really interesting to see. So I'm happy I went down there and had a look myself.
Well, this is exciting stuff. You know, the SpaceX way is to just keep building them and crashing them until they don't crash anymore. I believe there was 18 failures of the Falcon 9 booster. Someone will give me the exact number until the 19th one, and Elon Musk down to some of his last money, and it finally stuck.
Yeah.
And I've done over 450 first stage landings. That's like
Still mind-blowing.
yeah, it is. It is. And I missed the noisy rocket. We were having a staff meeting, and then we saw on the outside cameras, people were in the parking lot looking up, and Anita said, "Oh, that launch is going on." I heard the rumble, and you guys want to go out and see it or not, or finish what we're doing here? Yeah, Marty.
Yeah, we're at the Saturn V facility just before the launch, so we had our guests go out there, Banana Creek grandstands, if you will, and watch the launch from there. But,
Did
very
you see a
impressed
good
with
rumble
that.
out there?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And also we saw the Elon Musk Giga building construction started.
Ah,
Yeah.
and that's going to be huge, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of facilities going out there. All Points is building a facility to process payloads from the moon and back and forth. So hope that you keep getting opportunities to come here and watch stuff going on.
I'll hope so.
So thank you, Marty, for sharing that. Now let's get to Axiom 4. You saw briefly the Axiom logo that you're familiar with, and this is the one this is SpaceX's official Crew Dragon Axiom logo there. For to me, it's the artistically it looks like 00400. You see that?
I see that, yes.
Okay. Axe. That's a rock band. 00400. Anyway, let's see here. We want to just set this up by here's the crews. Peggy Whitson, your guy's in the blue there. Indian astronaut.
Shooks.
Shukla.
Yeah, he has it's a long name. The crew calls him Shooks.
Okay, Kruko,
And Tibor on the right from Hungary. Peggy, of course, and then our ESA project astronaut, Swawash.
and I think the coolest thing I learned from Sergio and Luca was I learned about Peggy time. Okay, and so why don't you tell people what Peggy time is all about?
So Peggy, as being the American, not just so the Peggy is the American with the most time spent in space accumulatively. I think.
Female.
No,
Oh, yeah.
American in
Yeah,
general
yeah,
and
right, and
female
man.
in the world.
Yes, that's right.
So
that's right.
there's a slight difference. There, a couple of Russians males have spent more time. Um, the record holder is Oleg.
Kenyenko.
No.
Sure, hers is 675 days.
Yeah,
something
and
like
he
that.
just came back from was it?
Oferenko.
I think so.
He was in the
don't mess it up.
abort with
Ovnishin, could it be? So he's at 1,111 days in space over, I think he had 4 flights.
4 expeditions.
Yeah, and Peggy is the American with the most time in space, was, as you said, Mark, 675 days. And now she's gonna add a couple of days to that.
Yeah, 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, once they go up.
So they were talking about Peggy time.
Yeah, and Peggy, so obviously once you have spent some time in space, and I'm sure Peggy in particular again, she's just very efficient. So on the ground, and I've done this because, as I mentioned, I worked 10 years in the payload world, and we estimate the crew time. So we on the ground, we have the ground model, we prepare the procedures, and then we have to provide an estimate how long it will take for the astronaut to perform that activity. And so we have ideally someone who have never done it before, just go through to give us an idea. And usually that's a pretty good estimate. Sometimes crew takes longer because of unforeseen things. Sometimes they take a little bit shorter, which is fine as well. But Peggy consistently does it in a lot less of the time. So this is where people then say like, oh, Peggy time, it's not an hour, it's 45 minutes or something like that. So it's when Peggy is on board, we always need a full task list. So I don't know if you heard about the task list on the space station. It's voluntary science or voluntary
No, we have not. No, elaborate
maintenance.
us on
Yeah,
that.
so maybe you've seen the timeline of the astronauts on the ISS, and there are all these activities that are planned, and the whole day is full basically. If they finish early, for example, or there's things get deferred to another day for whatever reason, of course you don't want to have the astronaut hanging there with hours of work time not being useful. So they have a task list that the crew can go to in this, either in their spare time, be it on the weekend. I'm sure Don Pettit made plenty of use for that. He doing his own experiments, but also filling the time on weekends, or if you finish early in the day, you can say, hey, still have an hour. Let me see what's on the task list. And they have activities that do not need ground support, so they can do it by themselves. They can do it on the weekend, and it just is extra work that at some point either needs to happen, like a yearly maintenance. Oh, after, of course, once the year's there, you put it actually in the timeline, but before that, you offer it to the astronauts as an extra activity they could do if they choose when they have time. And when Peggy was up there, they were emptying out this task list.
Oh, wow.
And the ground had to come up with activities for them to keep them busy. So that's also a little bit part of
She
Peggy
pushes
time.
the crews up
She's
there.
like,
Of course,
there's
she
a
was
to-do
commander
list.
twice of the internet. She's the only female commander to do it twice
Yeah.
up there. And yeah, she's a part of Axiom's big bold plan here. And I'll tell you what we'll do, Alex, is we're gonna
Shall we talk about the food?
yeah
real quick?
we're gonna let's go back to the picture of the
Yeah.
guy, and while you how you say his first name? Slawes.
Swawash.
Slawish, okay. And you gave me a little backpack here that's so cool. I got my Minerva one over there that
Yeah.
I hanging up there. And he brings me some. So why is Igneous on this?
So Ignis is the mission logo. So every ESA astronaut, of course, this is the Axiom 4 mission, and you have seen the logo of that mission. But every ESA astronaut is basically going on their own mission. There's a lot of, for example, now Swarosh coming from Poland. There are a lot of experiments and technology coming from Poland. So this has nothing to do with the XM4 so much, but because Poland is basically performing the mission, that the astronaut still gets to choose the name, but Poland has to approve, and ESA as well. And he chose the name Ignis. So Ignis is Latin and means spark, because he wants to ignite the spark in Poland, around the world, for youth to be inspired, for the country to be inspired, and that's how he chose that name. And then the symbolism on there, I think on the sticker, it has a bit of explanation. It's a lot of Polish national references. There's a mountain lion that is very famous in the back.
Yeah, we shared
and
that.
the colors and things like that. So
Well, we love a lot. We go over the shuttle of the month every month, Alec, and we've got at the heart of the mission is the ambitious technological scientific program, like you said. Eagle, an emblem of Poland, white and red, the national flag. Its tail gracefully evokes a flame, while its outstretched arms trace the contours of the Orla Perk mountain range in the Polish Tatra mountains. So, yeah, it's got a lot of meaning behind it there. So, thank you so much.
yes.
And but there's something that you did bring me that's quite interesting here. I'll hold it up there. So, what is that, Alex?
So those are pierogi.
Astro pierogi.
So the maybe the most famous national dish of Poland is pierogi. It's basically dumplings. These ones have a cabbage and mushroom filling. It comes with different fillings. This is the one he chose. I may have mentioned that in other episodes before. As part of the crew support, we also help the astronauts get some national food up. So we want it's to support them, especially on long duration missions. They want to have a taste of home. So the French people like French food, Italian people like Italian food, and so on. So the astronauts usually work with a chef to prepare dishes that they can have on orbit for special days or share with the crew. And Swarosh wanted to take pierogi to space. Actually, in Philadelphia, there's a famous mural that has an astronaut doing an EVA, floating and showing a sign that says "Bring pierogi."
Really, Marty, would you zoom in on that? The artwork of that is really darling.
Yes.
It's at a.
So and while you
Here,
zoom
I'm going to hold that right there. So
the story goes that so Swarosh is the second Polish astronaut. The first one flew in the 80s, I believe, was the Soviet Intercosmos program. And apparently that Polish cosmonaut back then, he stated that there are no pierogis in space. And therefore this artwork was bring pierogis, and now we're bringing pierogis to space.
There's an astronaut at a picnic table, and a couple guys are like toasting pierogies to each other.
And so Swarosh chose to work with this company. They're also producing like food for hiking and camping and those kind of things.
So this is packed right in the.
This is the original
Crew Dragon right now.
Yes, and this is the original recipe. So they wanted to add a little gift to the goodie bags for our guests, and added the exact same recipe that Swarosh is taking with him. Okay, this package has only one pierogi in it, but the one that Swarosh is taking with him, it's like a dozen or so. And,
sauerkraut, wheat flour, onion, canola oil, dried mushrooms, potato flour, salt, spices. Excuse me. Excuse me a second there.
So
Take me a
this
couple
is-
sneezes to get
Yeah.
straightened out.
So this is freeze dried. So this is real astronaut foods. This is real.
And pepper. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this is very special because also the ladies from that company, they were here invited as guests, so they were very happy to share this and see Swawash off, so that they eat their.
Well, I'm going to
pierogies
enjoy
with
that at
rice.
some point of the Formula One race in Canada here to be international with you there. Thank you, Alex.
Great.
That's awesome. So let's get to the meat of the pierogi, meat in the pierogi, so to
So
speak.
the filling, huh?
The filling of what's going on with the mission. I forgot I had that slide right
Yeah.
up there, but
There we see it again.
and
All
other missions have done other things, including the crows of Odin, Munyon and Hungin, something like that.
Hugin and Munin.
Hugin, all right, I
Yeah.
tried, and then that was what two astronauts had those.
Those were Andy Mogensen on Crew 7 from Denmark and Marcus Vandt from Sweden on Axiom 3.
Yeah, and you were trying to effort Marcus Wendt with us, and
Yeah, he was
I
here.
did a lot of research on him just in case you brought him in the other day.
Yeah,
but-
he was here. I told him about the museum. He was very interested and was like, let's try to make this happen. But then he got caught up in interviews and
Yeah.
meetings because of the launch delays. We had a bunch of meetings.
Interesting astronaut chosen, and 6 months later he's in space, and the quickest astronaut.
Almost.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Something like
the
that.
first of his
Maybe
class.
a year, I think. But yeah, it was
It was
very
under a
quick.
year, I believe.
The
but
training
of
was
course.
under a year, but it
Oh,
went
gotcha.
very quick. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to go to what Axiom's up to here after we get an update from Alex about what this is actually an interest. This is the Zevda module that's in question here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see it in space here in just a minute. I can jump up to that actually. Let me get the Axiom stuff out of the way. This is what Axiom wants to do: is build a space station attached to the International Space Station. As I showed Alex these graphics, he said that the concept is still changing, and this is the first two modules, America's Unity and Zevda in space in 1999, I think. And then in 2000, they added Zarya, the docking port there. And this is all part on the right-hand side there where Progress 91 is, right? And Soyuz there is where these are, because to cut to the chase, there was first a leak on the Falcon 9 oxygen, which fuels the RP-1 engines, and then they stood down dramatically the other day with hotels full for an 8 o'clock launch and you all poised and ready because something's going on the International Space Station modules they don't understand. So take it from there, Alex. What can you tell us?
Yeah. So a colleague mentioned we're playing launch delay bingo because we had weather, we had a leak on the rocket, now we have a leak on the space station. So
Bingo.
we're going through all the potential launch delay causes. So I hope there are not too many more. Yeah, so now weather looks fine. The leak on the rocket has been fixed, so that is fine. And now we're waiting for the space station. So what's happening is, so there is in the at the end of that module you showed, there's a leak, and it's been known for a while and closely monitored and also taken care of as much as possible. And now in a monthly evaluation of the situation, they found some readings they weren't quite sure what to make of, and of course it overlapped with the Russian holiday, so they were not working. So we have to wait until Monday that the Russians are back at work.
There, you didn't know that? That's breaking news. They're not even working on it right now. So that tells you it's not a life-threatening situation.
No,
right?
it's not. So they again, it's a known problem, but it looks different than it used to a little bit. So, and they said, hey, we want to get the expertise of our Russian colleagues. It's on the Russian side after all. So, but the timing is just unfortunate because it overlaps with this holiday. Otherwise, I'm
What
sure.
holiday is it in Russia?
I think it was called the Russia Day,
Uh-huh.
if that's a loose translation. If somebody in the chat knows, feel free to chime in. I believe this was a day it's from 1990 when Russia declared independence or celebrating the Russian Federation,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Or like our 4th of July, it sounds like,
Um,
maybe.
so anyhow, so it's a long weekend in Russia, so we have to wait until they come back on Monday and take a look at that. And then, of course, the international partners are working together and see
So-
what needs to be done, if something needs to be done, or but so that gives us a couple of days delay, but we don't have a new date at this point.
And you said that window's till June 30th for
Yes.
this, so to speak, orbital cycle of
Yeah.
the ISS coming over.
Yeah, I
as
think it
part-
also has to. It's not just the orbital cycle, but also has to do with vehicle traffic.
Ocean traffic.
Yeah, I think Crew 11 is slated for the end of July.
Oh yeah.
So of course you
forgot about that.
once and they use the same docking port as Axiom 4. So if Axiom 4 flies too late, it would overlap with the time with when Crew 11 would start to come. So those are all things that play into this. And of course, this is higher management.
And where are you in the middle of this? What?
I'm down here on the ground with you,
Yes.
Mark. So.
But you're gonna stay longer, or?
For now, I'm because most of the guests are leaving by now. So again, I'm here to take care of the guests. If there are no
Gotcha.
guests, I have no job, so to speak. I mean, of course, I can go back home and talk to the astronauts who are there on the ISS as the regular job, really, and prepare, keep an eye what's happening here. So who knows? If once we get a new launch date, we'll see how many guests are still here or able and willing to come back. And depending how many of those are, then I may come back or some colleague may do that. So that's all depends on the situation.
Okay.
That's one of the
Yeah,
fun things of spaceflight. We know something will change. We just don't know what it is.
Change is constant,
Oh,
as we
yes.
say here.
Oh, yes.
Well, of course, I knew you were going to fly out tomorrow, and but I was kind of like going, man, why is he going back or not hanging out for a while? But now I see your role
Yeah,
is different than.
personally, I would be happy to stay here and watch the thing launch, but
Yeah.
I need something to do here for official purposes.
Well, you can be their voice here on Stay Curious, see, and
That's
I
a great.
mean-
I should propose it to my
yeah,
boss.
propose it to say, look, I've got, I can get you hooked up with the TV stations and all that kind of stuff out of Orlando. But so it doesn't look as dire as maybe some sensational, social media might be reporting.
Yeah, I mean, social media. It's a little, and this is a great segue to the next part that we have about the asteroids and planetary defense. Especially social media, they live off clicks, right? And if you have something that makes you afraid or angry, it's scientifically proven, they click on that more. So they can't just say like, oh, let's take the asteroid example. A small asteroid is passing the distance of the moon. Nobody will pay attention to this. But if you're saying, there's an asteroid, NASA predicts an asteroid is coming and ruin your Valentine's Day in 20 years, people will start to pay attention. Even though it's the same object, but one is just worded in a way that makes you click it, because the media wants our attention. So that's their job. So
And we're going to talk about Alex's involvement with the planetary defending side of. There's actually a planetary defending conference that you were at, and we're going to talk about that. And Asteroid Day is June 30th, and it's important awareness of not if, but when a major catastrophe will happen, because a cosmic rock makes it through our atmosphere and hits a city or even the ocean, creates a big tsunami.
Mark,
But-
Mark, just because now you use the making the people afraid part,
Yeah.
just to calm that down. And this is one of the things I love about planetary defense, because an asteroid impact is the only natural disaster we can not only predict but prevent, given enough time. So if we know there's a rock coming in 20 years, we can actually do something about it. So I agree with you. It's not a question of if, but when.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not given that it will lead to a catastrophe, because we have the technology
Good.
to keep it from happening.
Yes, and we'll talk
As
about
long
that
as
more
we
in a
know
bit.
it's coming, there's still work to be done to find them all. But in general, it's very exciting to know there's something we can do about it.
Yes, and that's an exciting chapter of your life that you do that. Marty, let's got a question there about Axiom 4 or 2 or 3.
Yeah, Michael Bruno is asking, do you know how they trace the location of a leak?
I think there are different ways of doing that. I heard, again, this is secondhand. I don't know if this is true, but it sounds simple enough. The leak on the SpaceX rocket, for example, was traced with soap.
Really?
They fixed it. They rubbed it with soap. They pressurized the line and checked if there are bubbles appearing. Again, I don't know if that's really how they do it, but that was the explanation we gave to our guests.
Standard to squirt a bottle of,
Yeah,
of
it's
soap
like
and you see
fixing
if it
your
comes out.
your flat tire on your bike,
Yeah.
right? You hold it in water or something to see if the
Well, I
bubbles
know they
are
were
still
doing that
coming.
back in Apollo days, so they probably still are doing that.
If it works, it works. So that's a one high-tech way of doing it.
Excellent. Any other questions we saw there?
Nope.
Jubilee wanted to know if they stopped the leak on the space station.
Yeah, this is also we explained to our guests, and it was great to have Luca Parmitano there, our Italian astronaut, and he basically said the space station or anything you put into space is leaking all the time. What you're concerned about is a leak rate. So in this case, they have the problem is not that it leaks more than before. It was a different. I think there was a valve that had different readings than they expected. So it's not that the leak changed. It was something, as I said, yeah, it was something else.
And you're for erring on the side of caution.
Correct. Yes, we want to make sure we only send people to space or the space station when it's safe. And there, all the international partners agree on that. And if there's something we don't fully understand, we say, like, can we wait 2 days to, or however many days this will turn out to be. But let's wait rather than, I mean, we saw with Columbia and Challenger.
Mm-hmm.
I think that goes back to the lessons learned from there, that they say, like, hey, here's something we don't quite understand and we don't want to assume things. So let's be on the safe side. Yes, everybody wants to launch and be here to see it fly, but we also want to see our family member or friend to be safe and come back. And everybody understands that. So we're definitely making sure that it's as safe as we can make it to fly.
Excellent. Any other questions there, Marty?
Nope.
Okay. I thought you'd all have a lot of. I'm looking up Crew 11 here, to see when the of course I didn't hit the wrong thing there.
I think what I heard was 29th of July.
Because I'm trying to find out if this could be launched next week sometime.
Crew 11 or Axiom 4?
No, Axiom 4.
As mentioned, they have a launch window up until 30th of June. I'm not quite sure what happens after 30th of June, but until 30th of June, we still have some time. So
Yeah, in July 2025. I hadn't looked this one up at all, and Zena Cardman is the commander. She was going to be commander of the Axiom 9 mission that went up with 2 people.
mhm.
He came back with 4. Michael Fink is going to space again.
He
You
was
all
on
out there.
Expedition 18 when I started.
Okay, Spanky, right? That's his nickname. You didn't call him
not-
Spanky?
I'm not aware of that. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, NASA people call him Spanky. Michael Fink. Kim Ya-yu and Oleg Platonov.
Yeah.
Those three sound like rookies, or those two. She's a rookie, so it
Yeah.
looks like him and.
It looks like Japan and
Oh
Russia.
yes, that'd be a JAXA.
I
Uh,
think. Honestly,
Kim Ya-yu.
I think he's Japanese. Yeah, he's Japanese.
Okay, and that will be. We love that because, like, when you come to town, the JAXA friends that we have come to
Oh,
town,
great.
and we made quite a few of them. In fact, I met Hoshidi at the hotel they were staying out
Okay.
because I had a telescope doing an outreach, and Hoshidi come and look through my telescope.
Oh, nice.
You
Yeah.
dealt with him, I know.
Yeah, I've spoken to him. He was crew two. Yeah, crew two, I believe.
Yes. Yeah. One of the first to be in a shuttle, a Soyuz, and a Dragon. And the JAXA lady came up to me. I recognized her from being someone from Washington, D.C. And I said, I remember you when we lost Hashidi 6 months ago. And there's a gentleman beside her. And she says, yes, meet Mr. Hashidi. And I go like, wow. And I had a Dobsonian telescope, 10-inch reflector out there. I was showing the hotel people where they were staying, the moon, and he looked through it.
Yeah.
Super, super duper nice guy. Yeah. So, Marty, go ahead. We got a comment or question there.
The Viking Preservation Project is asking, we'd love to inspire the first museum on a space station. Will Axiom be first?
A museum on the space station. That's the first time I hear about that. I don't know, but it sounds very interesting. I know they had an archaeological experiment once where they put, I forgot the name currently, but you know, when you have dig sites, when they find dinosaur bones or something, they put like a scale and a measuring a little scale there and take pictures, and they did that with the space station.
Well, that Viking Preservation Project, that's Rachel Tillman, who's going to be on the show next week on the 17th, on Tuesday. She's touring the country with an awareness of the Viking Mars missions and 50-year legacy being 1976. So, Rachel, thank you for watching. A good question there. They're put art on the moon, you know, was a big deal with one of the crashed landers of Intuitive Machines had some artwork on it. And so you'll enjoy Rachel, and we're looking forward to her next week. So thank you for coming in there. And then go ahead, Marty. I see a question there.
Question from Go On the 1202. How did the relationship between Axiom and ESA begin?
That's a great question. I was not there, so this is, I think, let me guess how this began. So Axiom is a commercial company flying. I think Axiom 1 was mainly people who could afford it themselves, and less government funded astronauts. And again, this is happening on levels I'm not involved in. I'm sure that Axiom was reaching out to different entities to see if there's interest to use this service. And I'm sure they reached out to ESA, or maybe the other way around, or ESA was already thinking about it. So yeah, there's a common interest, right? So Axiom has a service to fly astronauts. ESA has astronauts. We want to fly our people as well. So there's certainly some overlap in interests. So I'm sure they got together at some point and discussed some details and said like, okay, let's see if we find support for that. Because ESA, because there's so many member states, and some of the programs need to be backed up by majority, or you can choose whether you participate or not. And I know especially with the astronaut flights that we have here in Axiom 3 and 4, and the same for the future flights that may come, that the national agencies are strongly involved. So Sweden for Marcus 1, for example, and I think they need to, they're part of the financing of the thing. So it's a lot of collaboration there. Yeah,
And just sort of, there'll be more to come, right?
we hope so. Of
You,
course,
you'll,
yeah.
there'll always be some entities wanting to use your services up there.
We
Um,
have plenty more astronauts to to fly to the space station.
well, we're enjoying this conversation with Alex Karl, and he basically says that you're pretty confident that the Axiom 2 crew will get off the ground here, maybe within next week. And it's all, the Russians are on vacation and won't come back till Monday, so nothing's going to happen till Monday. And for us in America, Sunday's Father's Day. So if you're a
Oh.
father, out there, or grandfather, we hope you have a wonderful day and get spoiled on this weekend events there. I know Marty's proud father like myself, so hope you get spoiled some over the weekend, Marty.
Yeah, me too.
Did you have another question on that USAC family microphone?
Yeah,
Over there?
Dean Babcock is asking, Alex, you mentioned in that the ISS always has leaks. Did the leaks appear early on in the life of the ISS?
Yes. So as I said, it doesn't matter even now. Let's take Axiom 4. I hope SpaceX is not too I'm saying the right things here. So the way I understand this, and I'm an engineer by background, right? So any pressurized vessel you put into space, being a Dragon capsule, whether it's been reused or is brand new like this one, you have the space station that's been up there for 25 years, or if Axiom finished once Axiom finished the station, and I think there are other commercial companies wanting to do things. So even if that thing is brand new, there is a certain leak rate because you're still trying to seal against vacuum, and there are always molecules coming out. So that is well understood. And that's why we carry spare nitrogen tanks or oxygen tanks just to repressurize the air. That's I don't know how often that happens, once a month, every quarter, something like that. That we just keep the pressure more or less equal, but there's always some atoms and molecules escaping, and technically that's a leak. So, but you cannot make any spacecraft leak-proof. You just want to make it tight enough that people can live and work in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes with the fact.
Well, I think a great example that I know from my elementary physics is try to stop a leak in a helium birthday balloon. Okay? It's not coming through the nozzle that's got the tie on it. The helium atom is the smallest atom, and it's actually small enough to escape through the rubber balloon. And so that's
Great example. Yeah.
over time, people think that why the helium's gone? Where'd it go? Did it go through where we tied the knot on the balloon? No, it's actually going through the plastic or the whatever the mirrored mylar on there. It's going through that surface. It's such a small atom. So. All right, good. We've enjoyed an hour here with Alex, and hope you have too. Marty, you got another question? Oh, I wanted to mention Dave Stange up in Michigan, one of our first people that found us during the pandemic. He wanted you to know that he was on a business trip to Wuppertal a few years ago, and that's close to Cologne.
It is indeed. Yeah, I have been to Wuppertal, and it's not that far. So next time if you're in the neighborhood, let me know.
Well, he's just retired, so he's happy retired man up there with his wife Julie and grandkids, and a great guy, and we thank you for your support there, Dean. Yes, Dave Stange, and Dean Babcock's also another one there, and I don't see our Fox Lake friend up there, today. Hope he's doing okay. Steve Jokum. So, anyway, any other questions about Carlton Bailey? Good that you're on there. He's reminding us that the Atlas Kuiper launch is Monday in the middle of the night, I think, like 2 a.m, and a Starlink possible Wednesday. So he's reminding us of those with the pace of the rocket launches out there. So, so great. So we're going to just kind of end here with a couple little, did a few minutes talking about something that you are very involved in. Asteroid Day is celebrated on June 30th now. It's an international awareness of that space debris can hit the Earth and, you know, do damage. We think it wiped out the dinosaurs. It certainly helped that 65 million years ago. June 30th is chosen for the date that a meteor exploded, or comet, over Tunguska, Siberia. And I'm going to show you that here in a minute. And we'll talk about Asteroid Day. One of the founders there is with the hair, that is rocker Brian May, Dr. Brian May, who has a doctorate degree in planetary astronomy. And you were involved with the international, tell us about the Planetary Defense Conference a little bit you were at last month.
Yes, just a month ago. It feels already a lot longer than that. But yeah, I'm one of the co-chairs of the Planetary Defense Conference. And that conference is taking place every 2 years. And it brings the planetary defense community together. It's about 250, 300 people. We had this year, we were in beautiful Stellenbosch, South Africa. And it really brings all the different disciplines of planetary defense together. Of course, we want to detect the object so that we know about it exists. We want to characterize them to better understand what they're made of. Are they pure metal? Is it a rubble pile? Because that influences what damage they could do and how we could protect for that. We have people that look at legal aspects. Oh, can we use a nuclear explosive device in space or not? We have mission design folks. Of course, once we discover something, we understand it better and say like, oh, this is going to hit Earth in 30 years, or potentially, because usually you have a big error bar. We had recently the 2024 YR4 asteroid that had a 3% chance of hitting Earth. Now the error bar moved off the Earth, but it still covers the moon. So there is currently a 4% chance that this asteroid will hit the moon. I think in 2038 it was. It's now disappeared behind the sun, so for a couple of months we will not have new measurements. So we're stuck at this point and have to wait whether that changes. And that's very interesting.
There's a big international effort with telescopes. There's tracking telescopes and cameras designed just for finding asteroids. My homepage is spaceweather.com, and I forgot to look today, but usually there's 3,000 or more potentially hazardous asteroids, PHAs, that they keep track of, that are from 5 times the distance of the moon to a few. Once in a while you'll hear one, like you talked about, is going to go between the Earth and the moon. We've actually had some go 25,000 miles from us too, right?
Yeah, and we have one upcoming on Friday the 13th. Speaking of which, not this Friday 13th, but the one in April of 2029. That's asteroid Apophis.
Yes, Apophis, I've heard a lot about.
And the UN recently declared 2029 as the International Year of Asteroids Awareness and Planetary Defense. So this is something to keep on your radar. I'm also involved with them a little bit. And because that's like, imagine Asteroid Day that happens the whole year round. Because the great thing about this flyby, it flies by closer than our geostationary satellites, and 2 billion people on Earth will be able to see it with the naked eye.
Oh my, okay.
To fly by. I mean, it's small dot, but still, you will see it moving, and that's gonna be very exciting.
Particularly with binoculars.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that as we get closer to June 30th. Which is on a Monday, and the celebrations goes in Luxembourg, right?
Yes, they have their 10-year anniversary this year, actually.
Here's the event you were at with a lot
Right, this is still, as I mentioned, this is beautiful Cape Town. I mean, imagine a conference room with that view. It was
Africa.
We had to close the curtains so people would pay attention to the
oh really
to the presentations. Yeah, so those were the folks. I'm somewhere in the back. I'm usually the tall guy in the back
Yeah.
somewhere. And that was great. That was a really, really good conference. Everybody enjoyed it immensely. We had a great local hosts. The presentations were really interesting. People were engaging. It was a hybrid event, so we had lots of people also interacting from remote. And we're looking forward to our next edition in 2027. That's the first week of May in Montreal at the McGill University.
Maybe I'll be able to attend that and see my girlfriend Julie Payette up there.
Oh, we should bring her in. Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah, she's from Montreal.
Yeah.
And she's part of the Ottawa Bach Choir
All right.
singing up there too. So, well, our future is really, it's a responsibility that, believe it or not, astronaut Rusty Schweikert is one of the advocates. If you see Rusty Schweikert, don't talk to him about Apollo 9. I didn't. Talk to him about the B612 Society.
I think it's foundation. But Rusty actually got me into planetary defense.
But he helped found this.
Yes,
It was
yes.
an asteroid number, right?
It's the asteroid from The Little Prince,
Okay.
the book from Saint-Exupéry, where you have the little prince living on an asteroid and watering his rose.
Okay.
That asteroid was called B612. That's how they chose the name.
And tell us how you met Rusty and he got you involved in planetary
Rusty, that was
defense.
back in 2007. I just became chair of the Space Generation Advisory Council. That's an NGO that brings students and young professionals from all over the world together who are interested in space. They have, well, back then they had a yearly conference, a 3-day conference that is aligned with the IAC, the International Astronautical Conference, taking place this year, end of September in Sydney, Australia. And nowadays they have much more local events. And what they also have is year-round project groups. And I learned what Rusty and the Association of Space Explorers were doing and getting the topic more on the agenda of the UN. And I found that was a great opportunity to get the youth involved, because as a global youth organization, there's only so much you can do. Some people are interested in, like, oh, I want to build a CubeSat, I want to build rockets. But if if your members are spread out over the globe with no laboratory really, that's hard to do. So what we, at least back then, could focus on was outreach and some research and things like that. And so I got in touch with Rusty, and he was very open to have the ideas from young people being brought in. And that's really how it started. And we started with a competition back then. And yeah, funnily enough, B612 now, they also, there's a Schweikert Prize, which they're supporting. And the winner is also announced on Asteroid Day. Rusty was also one of the co-founders of Asteroid Day.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's all one big community
And
working together.
we'll be talking about there was actually a space probe that did move a moon orbiting an asteroid and changed its orbit. The big deal. That was
Yes.
DART.
DART.
Yes, DART.
The DART mission from NASA. Now, actually, ESA's Hera mission is on the way to that same binary system. So that's asteroid Didymos and Dimorphos.
Yes.
To really measure the impact crater and the different changes to the system that resulted from smacking into that little moon.
It was unbelievable, actually. There was actually a probe that photographed the impact, and they knew that it changed the orbit, right?
Yeah, we did that actually more from ground observations. And that was one of the advantages, and there were many presentations at the recent Planetary Defense Conference. So it's
On DART.
fresh in my mind, yeah, on DART and follow-up observations, what we learned from that, what ESA can use for that once they arrive. So that mission is very informative for the planetary defense community.
This is artist's conception of the Tunguska accident there that hit this part of Siberia. It didn't actually make an impact crater. They think it was probably a comet that exploded or
Yeah,
some,
it was definitely an airburst. So they think it's a 40, 50-meter object that exploded. I'm not quite sure at which height, but then the pressure wave, and this is why there's no crater, but the pressure wave then flattened all the ground. And we actually had a presentation about Tunguska as well, modeling the blast, and you can calculate by looking at how the trees fell. You can actually determine in which angle the object came in, and then and that yeah, fits with the topography and things like that. So there were some interesting
can we find the
presentation.
proceedings on the web
There
somewhere?
it was live streamed on YouTube, so you can, if you go to the IAA, so the International Academy of
Astronaut.
no, hold on, the International Academy of Astronautics. I should know this. They're partnering with
You're
us.
chairman.
Oh, no idea. Yes. I have so many acronyms in my head right now, and this is not an asteroid week, so that's my only
Yeah.
defense right now. But if you search for Planetary Defense Conference 2025, you should find the IAA YouTube channel, and there the whole conference was live streamed. You can find everything there.
Check it. I will be checking it out and relaying it to you because y'all want to stay curious out there. And International Astronaut Day is June 30th there. So go on the 1202. That's an Apollo reference to Apollo 11 landing. We appreciate Rachel watching from the Viking Preservation Project. Doug Forrest is in Los Angeles. Dean Babcock's in Illinois. Marvel Luca, Empire. Not sure where you're at, but Jubilee is also watching. Michael Bruno down in Miami. Tom Celentano up in Connecticut. Elena Adkahara, she is in South Africa. Carlton Bailey, he's just down the road in Canaveral Groves at his preserve there. Gary Gerald, our favorite farmer in Georgia. Good to see you, Gary, watching today. And Dave Stange up in Michigan. And I'll bet we've got Sharon Rodriguez watch some of the show today. And Alex, thank you so much. There is a question there that Marty might pick up. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, go on to 1202 is asking, does ESA have any plans to have its own human launch capability?
That's a great question. So what ESA has, I mentioned earlier, because we have so many member states, what happens is that every 2 or 3 years, those member states get together on a ministerial level. And the next one is actually coming up in November this year. And in the past, from time to time, it was being discussed. I think in the 90s with the Hermes project,
Yeah,
which
Hermes
was
is
a
on
little
everybody's mind. They're
little
thinking,
glider on top of the Ariane 5. But the topic recently came up again to see, like, hey, with all the changes happening in the world, if that may be something that Europe may be interested in. Again, this is completely up to the member states and whether it fits in their budget and their political will. So the answer is we will see. Some people are advocating for that. And we will see if it is something that everybody agrees on, or if it's just one of those things you talk about every 5 years, and then things stay as they are.
start making your signs. Bring Hermes back. Okay, it was in the mix of the Space Station Freedom days.
Yeah.
Back in there. So, and Marty, anything else over there in our Streamlabs production? I see that Rachel loves her La Petite Prince, a childhood favorite. And she also is very knowledgeable. She's our Mars gal, saying that Osiris Rex was a phenomenal
Yes.
harvesting of actual rocks from an asteroid. And I think there's a piece of it in the Smithsonian, one in Los Angeles, maybe one in Houston.
I saw one in Houston. Yeah, they have it on display there.
Yeah, in there. So look that up. Alex, anything you want everybody to know? That we haven't asked you. Great group of people here today. I think you have some optimism that
Yeah,
everything's going to be fine with Axiom 4.
I was about to greet our Polish guests that were here. So I don't know if they're watching. They have a nice little chant whenever they were talking to Swawash, which may be missing up. It was "Go Swawash, go Poland, go Ignis, go Axiom 4." So I think those are good words to end on, and we hope that the mission gets off the ground very soon and very safe. And
And I
then
can't-
we will see pierogi in space.
Yep. I'll tell you how that pierogi is, okay? Monday on Stay Curious. Thank you so much for your time and what you've done this trip here for us. And we certainly welcome all your ESA partners here at our museum. But we're glad that they get what we're all about, because you certainly do, Alex. Preserving the birth of America's space age right here in its delivery room, Brevard County. And thank you, Marty and I have been doing this for 5 years, outreach, and we're so pleased that people around the world are enjoying the conversation like we had today with Alex. So until next time, happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there in America. And until next time, I'm Mark Marquette saying we can't wait to see you again to bridge the space between us.